Good day, fellas. I hope you are ready for your daily dose of skill, and today I am going to answer into the questions which many people has. Skill, what is the best bond tank to get? I am free to play player, I have 10,000 bonds, what to get? So let's go to the bond store and let's see what do we have here, and in the same time I am going to play some battles with one of the bond tanks, right? So first things first, speaking about the tier 10s, just to be clear, they are not making credits, they are not somehow unusual than other tier 10s, apart one thing: you can use the same nation, same type crew. So for example, 121B can use 121 crew, M60 can use Patton crew, and Fava can use Super Conqueror crew. Should you get Fava? No. Should you get M60? No. Should you get 121B? Well, I think 121B is probably the best out of those three tanks, but in my opinion it is not super epic compared to the 140 or STB or something else from the Tech 3. It's not bad tank, but you are not losing by not having it. And now speaking about the free-to-play players, you should consider to get something from the tier 8 vehicles. Lower tiers, they are not worth your attention, I can promise you that, even though M10 is one of the better tier 5 premium tanks. You shouldn't be interested in that, just because even bad tier 8 premium tank will make more credits than the best tier 5 or tier 6 premium tank. Keep this in mind. When we have this out of the way, the first tank in the list is a Black Dog. In my opinion, it is very, very beautiful. Light tank. The biggest highlight of that vehicle obviously is the gun. And what do I mean by saying this is, if you would pay attention over there, you would notice a humongous penetration with a high explosive shell, so you can slaughter other light tanks or weakly armored opponents, Ergasham, Borshik, Scorpion, or anyone else who doesn't have a great armor. Or whenever you are flanking someone, you are loading high explosives and you are banging them up the butt. Right? Average penetration with a hit is quite nice, but it's pricey, so I would not recommend to have many hit shells unless you do not care about making any profits whatsoever. All in all, I would say it is a good tank. Moving on, next it is a Shitlock. It is pretty much a Black Dog, but boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I need to highlight one thing. This tank has better camo, but ability to do damage, at least in my humble opinion, is way lower than Black Dog is. A high explosive ammunition is worse, and overall the tank is worse than a Black Dog, at least for me, apart one thing, which is good armor, which is good camo. That's about it. This tank doesn't have absolutely anything else to offer. Now we have one version of the Mouts. We have 3 Mouts overall, and all in all the tank is not bad. Gun handling is okay. You do not really have armor, that's very important thing to highlight, and your mobility is not super duper hyper turbo amazing, considering you have no armor whatsoever, right? But the thing is, there is so much more better tanks overall, and maybe on the paper it looks fine, maybe it has a good high explosive shells and everything, but I just never fell in love with this tank, if I can say so. That's the main reason why I am kind of avoiding to suggest the Mouts. Although I have no doubts whatsoever, we have Mouts lovers out there, right? Moving on, next, Guard. Guard is pretty much 416, but premium version, and in my opinion 416 as a Ruski medium tank is a bit better than this one. Now, what do I want to say and what do I want to highlight? What is a good thing about this tank? Alpha damage. But other than that, flexibility of the tank is not very nice, and probably even Mouts or Schmutz or however you would call that vehicle is a bit better. Gun handling wise will be 100% better on Mouts. Although, once again, you can snipe with this tank, you can punish enemies for their mistakes if they are going to do some, but you need to keep this in mind. You cannot play aggressively with this tank because it's very hard tank to play with. Now, this is one of my favorite tanks overall, and I know it's not competitive, and I do not recommend to get this tank, but this tank is pretty much for Pershing lovers. You love Pershing, there is a big chance you will like this tank. Armor, not reliable. Speaking about the speed, not epic, 48 kilometers per hour. Speaking about the gun handling, kind of low penetration with a standard round, so you kind of need to have APCR, ammunition. Overall, very average tank, but I like it. Do I recommend to get this, especially for newer players? No, absolutely not. Meanwhile, we have T-34/3, which is... if I'm not mistaken, this tank got buffed lately, maybe half year ago, maybe 1 year ago, I can't remember exactly when, and the tank itself would be fine, but the gun accuracy 0.39, obviously if I would have a better crew in it, in fact, if I am getting the crew here, I believe the accuracy is going to look a bit better. 0.38, here you go. But once again, I cannot say this tank is absolutely amazing or epic. Speaking about alpha damage, it has 390 alpha damage with standards and hit, 196 penetration with the standards, which is looking kind of fine, 250 penetration with a hit, but expensive, 5.6 thousand credits per shot. And you see, when I played with this tank recently, and I did, the gun handling was making me to go mental. I was missing so many shots, and obviously in some battles when RNG was right, it was good, but other than that, I was struggling with this vehicle, honestly. Moving on, next we have a Strv 81, which is pretty much Primo Victoria, but with a bit different setup. What do I mean by saying this is, once again, this is how Primo Victoria, this is how a Strv 81 is looking like, and if you would pay attention at the Primo Victoria, they are looking identical, right? But there is a twist. This tank has 5 crew members, and this tank has 4 crew members. So radio operator is saying bye. And what that means if in the Primo Victoria you could go for, if with the Primo Victoria you are having situational of awareness, you don't really need to have situational of awareness here, right? And if you do, it is kind of wasting one skill in a way. Type 60... Type Strv 81 overall, right? It doesn't have this problem in a way. You can use the crew member of the UDES, so maybe it's not necessarily a bad thing, but in the same time, as you can see, situational of awareness is not mounted in the commander, so loader has situational of awareness, right? And you need to keep this in mind. Those small bits are making a difference, fellas. Okay, other than that, what do we have? We have the quite nice shell velocity with a standard, nice shell velocity with a gold. All in all, everything is looking fine until people are loading gold at you, and even though you are playing hold down, you can get penetrated here easily, and I'm talking about your equal opponents. If you are fighting against the higher tiers, it can be even worse. And in fact, we recently had Primo Victoria video, and I demoted the tank from being good to being playable. It is just not that good as it used to be back in the day. Moving on, next we have IS-6. IS-6 is a typical Ruski heavy tank. To be fair with you, it is quite nice for newer players in the world of tanks. What is the worst thing? Obviously, the standard penetration is not very nice, 196. Armor is working, but working against the lower tiers or against the opponents who do not know how to penetrate you. If you will meet the person who will load full gold, you are kind of doomed. And if you are going to meet the person who knows your cupolas are 150 millimeters thickness and they are able to hit them, then hashtag never look lucky. All in all, against the lower tiers, this tank can work, and this tank is not the most horrible vehicle in the battlefield. Moving on, next we have the IS-5, and oh boys, I know there is content creators who are saying IS-5 is amazing tank. It's not. Fellas, don't be tricked looking into the gun. No, but skill APCR ammunition, very nice shell velocity, very nice penetration. Woo! Skill hit, 270 millimeters of penetration, okay, shell velocity. Woo! It is not the case, fellas. This tank is garbage. I apologize to say so. It is rated playable in the index page, right? And this is where this tank belongs. I would rather play with IS-6 than IS-5, because IS-5 will troll you so damn hard you will forget your name. And fellas, please, take a second and type your comment about your favorite tank of the overall of the black market, or not the black market, ranked bond market, right? Feel free to do that for me. Why so? Because this video is going to be seen by the newer players as well, and maybe you like the Patton Care, but still I disagree. I don't think that tank is that bad. Or maybe you hate I don't know, whatever, Skill4 Kreslavsky, you can say that tank is shit. Or you hate Black Dog and you think Shitlock is better. Feel free to share your opinion with us. It is important, fellas. Moving on, next we have Skill4 Kreslavsky, which is in my humble opinion one of the better tanks nowadays, because this tank got buffed and it has nice combination of the things. Armor is looking respectable for this tank. You have a good penetration, 227 for a heavy tank. It is as good as it is going to get in the tier 8, and gold penetration is phenomenon. 290 millimeters of penetration with epic shell velocity, so that's pretty damn good if you would ask me. Other than that, whenever you are facing against the lower tiers, you can show the dominance, and it might look ugly tank, but it is not that bad. Meanwhile, we are going to the Chrysler, which is in my opinion good tank for a newer player, but there is one but: the penetration of the standard ammunition is not that great, and whenever you are dealing against the higher tiers, you need to spam that 260 APCR ammunition. So that means sometimes to make profit is it is going to be very hard thing to do, right? So keep this in mind. Moving on, next we have Patriot, which is one of my favorite tanks from the Bond store, but once again, it is not the most epic tank in the world of tanks. If you will like T-32 in action, American tier 8 heavy tank, you might like Patriot. If you hate T-32, there is a big chance you will hate Patriot. With this tank, you are trying to play hold down, or you are trying to use your DPM, because your alpha damage is very low. But what I love about this tank is how much ammunition costs, what shell velocity you have, and all combination of the things is not bad whatsoever. I have a feeling eventually I will start marking this tank in the other server, and we will try to make it work and make videos separately for this vehicle, right? Anyways, moving on, next, Liberty. In my opinion, Liberty is equal to the Patriot, but for newer players. What do I mean by saying this is, this tank is not bad apart one thing: the armor is not working against the higher tiers or against the people who are loading the gold ammunition. Plus on top of that, gun handling is derpy. If with a Patriot you are expecting to hit your shots, with this tank you won't. You will have some games where you are fully aiming, and in the end of the day you are getting greeted with... It's just how it goes, fellas. So that's the worst thing about the Liberty, and obviously lower tiers will figure out Cupola is your weak spot. If you are seeing Liberty side scrapping, just shoot into the shoulder and you will beat Amorak as well, if I am not mistaken. So keep this in mind. Moving on, next we have Alpine Tiger and we have Trash 103. Okay, let's go to Alpine Tiger category, and in my opinion, the tank is playable. It is relatively fast. This tank is going 50 kilometers per hour, which sounds good. Armor is okay-ish, but okay, one more thing to highlight. The 3D art of this tank is absolutely phenomenal. You can say whatever you want. This is integrated into the tank and it looks very nice. It truly does. But now we have other talk, other highlight to say: gun. Gun handling is quite horrible. Ammunition is expensive, 1,000 per round, plus you are going to miss a lot. And gold ammunition overall is super expensive, 5.6 thousand per shot, and that's the main reason why this tank is going lower. And one more thing to say: 112 is just better tank, okay? And last but not least, speaking about the premium tier 8s, and this is the tank with which we are going to play today. this tank is kind of underrated. Skill, you said this tank is trash 103. Yes, I did, and recently I played with this vehicle for Mark of Excellence. I got 100% of the Mark of Excellence on this tank, and probably you will see best of this vehicle very, very soon. We had multiple times 6, 7, 8,000 damage, if I'm not mistaken, with this vehicle. I might be wrong now. Maybe I'm flexing too much. But the thing is, this tank is kind of friendly for beginners, as wrong as it sounds, fellas. What do I mean by saying this? Look at this. How much ammunition cost and what kind of penetration you have. 258 millimeters of penetration and 910 credits per shot. It is cheap. Plus on top of that, you can load the gold and you can have 300 millimeters of penetration, and obviously you are paying 4.8 thousand then, and high explosives can be useful as well. So what I thought about doing today, I thought about going for a couple of games with this vehicle and just showing this tank is actually not that bad and it is not a horrible vehicle, right? So without further ado, let's report into the game and let's see what this tank is capable of doing. Let's go. And we are back, fellas. So the very first battle which we have, and pay attention at our loadout, we have pretty much 35 standard shells and pretty much no gold ammunition whatsoever, because you don't need gold with this tank, and this is very good thing. Now let's speak about the bad things of this tank. It is not that fast, so turbo can definitely work for this vehicle. Camo of this tank is sucking a massive PP. It is tall as a barn, but you would be surprised with the random bounces, right? And as wrong as it sounds, this is quite good value for your bones, especially if you are a newer player, if you don't mind to snipe from the back, or alternatively if you want to make a bit of pressure, especially whenever you are top tier against the tier 7s or tier 8s. This vehicle can do a heavy lifting, and this vehicle can do good things. Now as well, alpha damage 440. It is one of the bigger alpha damages out there for a tier 8 tank destroyer. No but skill but Scorpion Zoo 1:30 PM. I know I did not say that this is the biggest alpha damage. I said that this is one of the biggest alpha damages. And yes, I am highlighting this because I know you fellas, my lovely experts in the comment section down below, you are going to bash me for this. I feel you fellas, I feel you. Meanwhile, we are joining our tier 7 heavy tank. We are knocking the tree down just like so, and at this point we will try to find a decent angle for people who are playing here. Now, if this beautiful Pershing will peek, and he will peek, we will smack him for 400. This is very nice, this is very good. We are not getting outspotted, that's excellent. So what we need to do now, we need to keep holding this angle. And this is exactly what we are looking for, fellas. If enemies are over peeking, we are saying hello for them. For example, ML1, unlucky. And the gun handling of this tank with the setup which we are currently using is not bad whatsoever. Plus, keep this in mind, I do not have a field modifications tuned up to this tank, and as you can see, it works pretty well. In no time whatsoever, we are up to 1.3 thousand damage, and it is not bad. I'm not doing anything extraordinary, right? I am sitting next to the red line in a way, and we are just holding a good angle for enemies. That's all we are doing, and it works just fine. So you don't need to research the bicycle or research the wheel in order to make this tank work. Wait, now. Beautiful. I was waiting until he will shot because I knew I'm going to get spotted. What the flying? Why am I not spotted? Why I am not spotted? This is the other question. That was nuts, fellas. What can I say? This vehicle became ELC even suddenly out of nowhere. This is weird. Once again, to be fair with you, I suppose to get spotted here, and once again, considering we are not spotted after this, this is truly insane. Meanwhile, this IS will try to get involved in a moment. Just wait for it, and whenever he is going to get involved, we should be able to smack him. 3, 2, 1, and now. Unfortunately, gun handling is saying not today, but that's okay. We have all time in the world of tanks. And I think we kind of need to get a bit involved here, I have a feeling. I have a feeling, fellas, we need to get involved here. Wait. He is afraid. Oh, he is afraid. I do not really want to take a silly goose risks here. I want to be annoying for the enemies, but in the same time, I do not want to make a silly goose mistake. Meanwhile, Centurion is looking at us. This is not going to be too easy of the penetration for him, right? And funny fact, we can come back to the same position once again. Now Centurion knows where we were shooting him from, but to be fair with you, I don't really think it matters too much, and I think our main mission is to hold this line. Now, if you would pay attention to what is happening on the Maxi map, I believe it's pretty visible. Our team is making a hardcore pressure for the enemy forces in the other side, right? So keep this in mind. It's a matter of the time whenever our team will get more involved, and in the same time whenever we can be a bit more aggressive as well. Because whenever our enemy, whenever our team will reach this position, I can start flanking like this. Flanking like this now, it is a bit too risky. Is it possible? Everything is possible, but to be fair with you, this might be not the best idea overall. Wait a bit, this Progetto, I have a feeling this gentleman just noticed he is sitting in the deep poo-poo hole. Wait. That was bad aim by me. I cannot complain about this. My bad, fellas, my bad aim. No complaints, no regrets, everything is fine. We will try to find a bit of different angle for him to punish. Look at this. I think I am a bit too passive. There is nothing that bad to be super passive, and I am being careful, right? Because I know this tank can treat you like a kaku as well, so in a way, I need to be careful here. All good. One free shot to Progetto, that's very nice. I can see the IS looking directly at me, it doesn't really matter. Tiger is in the open field, so what we are going to do, we will smack him very hard. Look at this, we are sitting on 2,500 damage already. And I know a lot of people hates this tank, and I was one of the person who hated this vehicle as well. But after playing a bit with this tank, it is not looking that bad. Would I put this tank into the good category? I do not know, but for now it is rated as a playable vehicle, and eventually we are going to rework the ratings of the tanks to make it easy to understand, right? And overall to look into the more aspects than we are looking now, and this is super important thing to say, fellas. Anyways, I do not really like how everything is looking in this situation. I truly do not like this. I know for a fact the enemies are flanking us like this, and what I would love to do, I would love to defend the base, right? And this is exactly what is happening in my head currently. In fact, you know what? Let's make a bit of pressure like this. I hope I do not need to regret this, but we need to get involved. Because if we won't be involved, we are going to get flanked, and this is going to be horrible. So let's go. Our M2I is doing... Our M2I is doing a heavy lifting, fellas. He's doing everything properly, and he is playing very, very well. So this is worth thing to highlight. Meanwhile, Centurion, I'm trying to hit him. Unfortunately, hashtag never lucky. What we know he is stock. And even though we lost a lot of hit points while trying to make pressure like this, we need to get involved. Because if we won't get involved, this is going to be a game over, and this is not going to be fun, and this is not going to be nice. Skill, you are down to one shotable. let it be. I'm down to one shotable and I am dead. You know how I felt like, fellas? I felt like I was the sponge who took one for the team here. It was kind of silly thing to move, but you know what? Let it be. It is how it is. Armor-wise, as you can see, you cannot expect to bounce anything. But once again, I made a mistake. I was playing too aggressively. I needed to stay passive over there while having full hit points and simply waiting until enemies will make mistakes like this. That's on me. No complaints, no regrets. Let's teleport to the scoreboard. And we are back, fellas. So what do we have? We have solid 2,800 damage, 300 assisting damage. Not the best performance from my side because I messed up in the end. All and all, ooh, Emil 2 farmed them all. Good for Emil. So what do we have? We are second by the damage. We are third by experience. We made healthy 143,000 profits, although 80,000 is coming from missions. So please keep this in mind. Meanwhile, while we are going for round number 2, fellas, if you are curious how much you need to do in order to get third mark of excellence, remember you can always check out index page if you care about the crews which you want to see or which I recommend to use. Remember you can always click on the filter how many crew skills you have overall. Remember there is equipment setup which you can choose from here and field modifications as well if you are not entirely sure what do you want to take. This is overall information for you, especially for newer players in the world of tanks. Meanwhile, we are coming to the round number 2. And from the round number 2, we are expecting to get quite a bit of use from this position here. I do not feel like I want to go into the city and I don't feel like I want to snipe from here, and this position can work just fine. Now the question is, are we going to have some competition in this position? Because usually there is a couple of people who are going here because it's just solid position overall, right? And by the looks of it, it is not looking that bad. We have a light tank, so that's fine. And in fact, I think we can take this position here, which is close to our initial position, but a bit different. We have a bit of the hold down here, and that can work very, very well in our favor, fellas. Believe me, that could work extremely well. Meanwhile, if I'm getting spotted here, that means light tank is sitting here, so I am going for a blind shot just like so. And as you can see, Ruski light tank just shit himself while being blind shotted. At least that's what I want to believe. Meanwhile, T-44, how are you doing? Trying to snap him, and we did that just in face for 440 damage. Beautiful, very, very nice. And once again, this tank is better than a lot of people might think. At first, once again, I truly hated this vehicle and I couldn't stand this tank, but in the end of the day, wow, what kind of angle this guy has. Whoo! Okay, that's new for me. I had no bloody clue I can get punished from person sitting here. Wow, he is sitting somewhere here, I would say. Wow, good one. I never ever knew about this angle, and you know, you are living and you are learning, right? That's nothing. It is not that bad. Okay, I will keep this in mind. 2/3 of the hit points are down now, but once again, I made a humongous mistake. I did not expected this, and I took one for the team. That's completely fine. At this point, we are going to be a bit more careful. We have plenty of forces who are making sure no one will flank our heavies, because in a way, this heavy flank is not really playable. So I am feeling relatively well, although enemies are still thinking about making pressure. That's not good. That's not good for enemy team. Okay, let's try to get a bit closer, and we are preparing to punish the heavy tanks who are trying to make pressure like this. Wait, give me a moment. Defender, kaboom in the side. Unfortunately, bounce. I don't really think our aim was that bad, but as you can see, it can happen. Can we punish this guy? Just like so, we can. Beautiful. He used his automatic fire extinguisher, or alternatively standard fire extinguisher. Doesn't really change anything. Good. Not that horrible start, because enemies are making silly goose mistakes here, and this is exactly what we want to see, fellas. We want to see enemies being aggressive, and if they are aggressive, they are going back to the garage, right? This is exactly what we want to see, and this is exactly what is happening in this game. Nice. Since there is no artist who could punish us for our stupidity, we are feeling just great, so we can play in the middle of the field, right? And in the same time, at this point, I am thinking how to get even more involved, if I can say so. And I think the first victim is going to be this T-44, because I really doubt they have someone here, unless there is a sneaky Scorpion G sitting. But even though if they have Scorpion G, it is not changing absolutely anything for us, because our Scorpions will punish him. Well, while we are talking, Scorpion G is getting spotted in the other side. Beautiful, that means we can get even more involved. And once again, what we have done in this game, it is not rocket science, my friends. It is not a rocket science, and I think we are playing the game relatively well, right? I would love to get a couple of extra shots, and I believe we are going to do that. Meanwhile, S1 is getting spotted here. Now he is definitely not enjoying himself, and he is not saying, "Ooh, what a great position I have." No. He is not having that much fun. Scorpion G, can I? Aim. Boom. Beautiful 400 in the face. Very, very nice. We are winning only by 1.8 thousand hit points. That's not that epic. It is not that epic, fellas. Scorpion G right there. Mistakes. Greediness. I did not need to pick against the Scorpion G, that's on me. Well, I made quite some mistakes. First battle I decided to be too aggressive, luckily our team carried my butt. After that, in this game I also played a bit too aggressively. You see, you cannot expect to have any armor whatsoever with this vehicle, but that's okay. My mistake, my fault. This is the second game of this tank. Let's report to the end, shall we? And we are back. So what we did in this game, 2.7 thousand damage, 500 assisting damage, definitely not horrible. We are fourth by experience, we are first by the damage. We got 67,000 profits, which is always nice and always welcome. And I honestly highly recommend to check this vehicle out. It is not that bad as many people are saying. It is truly not bad. I used to hate this tank, but a bit of training made me golden with this tank, if I can say so. Skill, so you are saying those two mistakes, so we are gold? Absolutely yes, fellas. Everyone is making mistakes from time to time. Meanwhile, after 2 games, our performance is 2.7 thousand damage, 400 assisting damage, and I am happy with my results. So now, fellas, thank you very much for watching. I hope you had a great time, and I hope you enjoyed yourself, and see you very, very soon. Skill is out for today. Peace.